along with me on a hunt for a 207-inch plus Old Mexico stud. He has a 27-inch inside spread, over 40 inches of mass, and 16 scoreable points. But most interesting of all, he has a drop tine that's nearly 11 inches, a magnificent beast in every way, and the kind of deer that people dream about when they come to the brush country to hunt these whitetails. But before we do that, let's play a game. Let's play the "Would you shoot that buck" game. Follow along with me. I think you'll see where I'm going with this, and it should be fun, educational, and then we'll go on a great hunt, one that I was pretty darn excited about. Follow along. Let's go take a look.
Here's the first entry in the "Would you shoot that buck" game. Beautiful buck in every way. Mainframe 11 point. Got a kicker on his left G2 and another non-typical point near his brow tine on the left side. And got that great flower coming off of the right G2. Beautiful buck. Pay close attention to the left side of the rack where the G3, 4 are close together like that. And that flower, let's keep an eye on it and see what happens as we continue to play this game. So when I filmed this buck, I thought he was a 4-year-old. And I based that on his body characteristics as well as the fact that I had no idea what deer this was. So I assumed it was a 4-year-old that made a big jump from 3 to 4. A lot of times you don't notice them at 3, but it is not unusual for bucks to grow fairly substantially between 3 and 4. So on all that, I considered this to be a 4-year-old. Now, he certainly could be a 5-year-old as well, and we'll never know. Now back to the original question. Would you shoot this deer? Certainly nobody would blame you if you did. He's gorgeous in every way. But let's see what happens.
That's the one from the cuddy bags. How big is that deer?
I'm driving back to the ranch one day with a couple of my favorite hunting buddies when we look across in a dry lake bed and find this guy bedded down. You can hear the excitement in our voice. Yep, it's the same buck from the previous video, except that now the flower on his right side has become a drop tine. He's added width and he's added mass. He's incredible in every way. And we believe him to be a 5-year-old, 6th the most. So once again, the question, would you shoot this buck? And once again, nobody would blame you if you did. He's amazing.
Did you just run off?
Here's our man again out in an oat field on a hot doe acting like a teenager. Yet by now, we know he's anything but a teenager. He's probably a 6-year-old here, although it's possible he's 7, and he's starting to look it in every way. Body is fully mature, and look, if you look on the right G2, you can start to see the characteristic fork that he carried the following year. Everything about him is slightly bigger than the previous year, as I was fortunate enough to find his right shed both this season as well as the previous season, and then later in the video we'll take a look and compare them. Now, look at that throat column. Look at that face. Does that not look like a mature deer? So, back to the question. Would you shoot this buck? He's incredible. Let's talk a brief moment about the oat field that he's in, as I think it played a significant role in his rut recovery and what he was able to do the following year. Let's take a look at that. And here he is. I'm out doing some early season scouting when I happened upon him right at dark. And frankly, he took my breath away. The drop tine is the biggest that I've ever seen. And you can see that he brought back many of the characteristics he had even in the first video that I showed. He's got the common base 3-4 on his left side. He also has that non-typical point by his left brow tine, except that now it's just bigger. Same thing with the fork on his right G2. It's just gotten bigger. I believe this buck to be the culmination of over 20 years of intense management, doing everything we know how to do to raise the nutritional plane and create as ideal a habitat for the whitetails as possible. So it's quite gratifying to see it all coming together. And what a magnificent whitetail it is. I think we should go for a hunt for him this year. What do you think? Showtime. After days and days of sitting in the dirt waiting for him to reappear, here he is. It's game on. I hit the record button and start crawling on my belly to get forward a little bit to get a better shot. And here we go. Now, I've learned through the years that just because a deer drops, that doesn't mean he's necessarily dead. And through harsh experience, I've seen it too many times where you knock a deer down only to see him jump up and run off sometime later. Well, I'm not about to let that happen on this bad boy. And besides that, I'm so excited I can hardly breathe. So I'll run as fast as I can to get up on him to be sure that it's all done. And it is. And yes, I'm really excited about right now. When I was running up to the deer just a moment ago, I managed to disconnect the audio from my camera. I'm not a professional, and when you get back to the camp and you start reviewing these scenes, that's when you realize that the audio was off and you can't go back and redo it. But I wanted to show this here a little bit just because you can see how excited I am and what a magnificent beast that is. It was an exciting moment for me and the culmination of many years of work. Now, let's fix the camera and see what the audio sounds like. Join me.
Check this guy out. Man, I've had to take 15 minutes, 20 minutes to compose myself a little bit. I'm pretty shook up. What a buck. I've been sitting in the dirt, saw this bad boy before the season opened, and I've been chasing him for a couple of weeks now, sitting in the dirt. It's dirty, it's dusty, but here he is. Look at that drop time. Amazing. Beautiful buck. It's going to be 90 degrees today, certainly in the 80s. Hunting Old Mexico on December the 14th. Warm, beautiful. You can get rewards like this. How exciting. I'm shaking. I normally know what to say, but I'm not sure right now. But I'm very proud. It's very exciting. Here we go. I'm going to call my buddies. I can't wait to talk about this. Fun. Now that you've seen his age progression with the video through the years, we were lucky enough to find a couple of his sheds 2 years in a row. Let's take a look at those and see how they compare to him when we actually got him. First, here's a shed from 2 years ago. You can see he's got the drop. He's got this kicker here, that went away. And he's starting to get a kicker here. He's got a little kicker here, and it's starting to form into what he ultimately got later in life. So, again, 2 years ago, probably when he was 5. That's our best guess. And here he was last year. Drops there, a little bigger. He's starting to get this feature right here, which he actually had this year, a little more pronounced. And here's what's interesting. He broke a point off right here. This point that's broken off here actually moved to the other side and became the non-typical point. And of course, the drop tine got a little bigger. But now, let's take a look at what he looks like this year. Yep, that's what he looks like now. So, did you wait and shoot him at the right time? Look at the comparison there. He always kind of had short main beam. This main beam was only a tad over 21 inches, but he made for it in other ways. But what do you think? Did he grow up? Did you pick the right year to shoot him? I think I did. Yeah.